again. Update for the first week of August in 2025 on our political situation, gun rights, all the different pieces, rights and recreations that we sit with versus our government in Western Australia. We're just over a week away from the disallowance motion, which is going to be put forward by Brian Walker in Parliament in Western Australia on the 14th of August. We've got the rally coming up. There's a few things that are in play, and there's I think a little bit of let's say misinformation, whether that be of people who don't know, or maybe it's the other side that's actually working against us a little bit in talking about going to the rally and the disallowance and all the bits and pieces that are there. So I want to go through that sort of stuff and lay it out a bit more clearly for people. To start off with, we are talking about the 2024 Firearms Act and the way it's being implemented. This is, without any question, about disarming the population. I think some people have forgotten that. The government came forward very clearly and said right at the beginning, Mr. Papalia said, get another hobby, we're going to confiscate the firearms. There's no grey areas about that. Yes, they've changed him out for now a media man, so there's a smoother message, and there's a bit more, let's say, cooperation from some parts of what you would think are on our side, the people, but that are working with the government more closely to get this same goal accomplished. I think in a lot of cases, some people are convinced that we've complied as much as we need to now, so it'll all be fine. The messages are very clear right from the beginning that they wanted to disarm the population. Now, why they want to disarm the population, well, that's another question. That's the thing, and that's where we know everywhere else in our state, whether it's our four-wheel drivers, our farmers, our fishers, our beaches, our national parks, our bush hikers, our prospectors, now we talk about even the control over our schooling. In every place, we have a government that wants to take away your freedom of choice. We've also got the new Safety Act, or whatever it's called, that's going to change how social media can talk and make sure it's just the mainstream narrative and nothing else. There are definitely things afoot. And I'd ask anyone who's got those doubts or is just hiding in the brackets of, no, it'll all be fine because I've done this. Have a look at the UK. Probably a pretty good example of where we're headed. Lots of things, they are a little bit in front of us in the way of further down that slippery slope, but it is with the same sort of strategies involved. Disarm the population is one of these things, controlling more of things, immigration, all those bits and pieces, turning into a mess, as there are things all over our world. Now, we don't have to go down that same path, but it is about us standing up, waking up and standing up and say, listen, that's not okay. We need to get a bit of control back. Overreaching government is a very dangerous thing. So if we come back to the conversation, in this situation, that is what's happening here. We have overreaching government. Laws that were made to do what they want to do to us rather than what we want to have done or what we as a population have decided should have done. No, they've been forced on us with manipulation, with propaganda, with a whole heap of let's go to, I won't go too far down the road of where I could do in the conspiracy side of things. Mind you, we live in a world where a conspiracy theory is 2 days away from or a month away from reality. But let's not go too far down that rabbit hole for the people who aren't prepared to go there. We do have lots of things that have happened to force a situation. We have laws forced on us, and now this is a place where, and then I'll get into what's actually happened beyond on that point. Some of the misinformation is talking about that if we have the disallowance motion goes through, you will have complete chaos. In some places, I've heard some gun shops and things have been spread or are spreading. I think they have been spread information that, well, you should go and get all your ammo now. You should go and get everything now, because if the disallowance motion goes through, you won't be able to buy anything. We won't be able to get any firearms. You won't be able to do anything. This is done specifically, I would say, because they don't want the disallowance motion, because those parties are like the gun laws. They suit them in some form or other. So, but listen, I don't know the actual motives there, but what I can tell you, if the disallowance motion goes through And it's possible that it can. I'll explain that in a second. But if it goes through, we have laws in Western Australia. We have laws in our constitution, I think it is, but basically stuff that's been around for over 100 years. I don't think it's been used for over 50 years. But if the law, if the regulations, which is what they're talking about, the disallowance being passed on, if that actually happens, it reverts to the old laws. It reverts to the 1973 Act. It reverts to what we've been using for the last 50 years. Go figure, the government realises that sometimes it messes up. There's a shock. And there's laws in place. When this happens, it goes back to that. Yes, there'll be some disruption. Yes, there's going to be probably a week or a couple of weeks of people sorting themselves out and how trades happened, all that sort of stuff, to go back to the old system. Yes, there'll be a little bit of disruption, but in the long, that little bit of disruption will be well worth the pain, considering if it doesn't happen and it goes to the steps where they want to go. There isn't any question, and I suppose I'll get into why it's possible and then to explain the regulations a little bit. It's possible because, from what I've been explained, the Act, the 2025 Firearms Act, went through, ratified the whole lot, done, dusted, it's there. It's there, and take a very big thing to try and get it back out. It's really hard to reverse it. But, not impossible, but really hard to reverse it. But the way the Act is implemented is with regulations, done in extraordinarily poor fashion this time round. Well, poor fashion for us, the people, great fashion for the police force, because the regulations are massive, but also flexible, meaning the police can alter them without parliamentary oversight because they are regulations. That's basically how they apply things. And to some degree, it can be how they interpret the Act. So they can change things. They can change numbers, they can change property sizes, they can change fit and proper person, they can change things to suit what they want to do. So the regulations are the very scary thing. If it all gets through nice and calm and they get to where they want to and we go quiet and they keep going and then they get everyone onto the new system, then they have control of the regulations. Then, yes, they can start removing the other people. They've taken the ones here, taken most of the hunters. Now we'll start to work on the clubs and we'll get rid of the firearms in the population by having those regulations there. But those regulations didn't get all the way through. They got stopped. I've forgotten the exact process that happened, but they're not all the way through. So they're a little tenuous. There is the chance of Brian Walker's motion for the disallowance to push it back. It is possible. If the people have a true conscience about where Australia is going, if they understand what's actually in place, if they understand the impact it has on both our society but also our natural wildlife, our flora and fauna and farming and the whole system what we're going, they understand how bad this is, then, and they also believe in true democracy, or the form of democracy we have, where the people should have a say. There should be more than just the police at the table making the rules. The laws should be made by a independent source, and then the police should enforce them rather than them making rules that suit them. If they believe in any of those things that I would have thought all West Australians believe in to some level or another, then they should push through the disallowance. At that stage, the regulations get pushed back. When that happens, the Act can't operate because it doesn't have a framework to do this. So then because of that, it becomes dysfunctional. Then it goes back to the 73 Act. And the 73 regulations. So that's the process. That means it is very possible. It is a real thing. Is it going to happen? Listen, can't say that at all. But it is a very good time for everyone to step up. Now that's everyone. In the firearms community, there's obviously a lot of people are talking about going and getting there and doing and helping out and being part of the crowd there, being part of that. This also can be helped by people writing in the letters. Links down there to write in the letters to all the members to actually go through and let them know your feelings on it, but also try and impress the importance of this situation. So it matters on that sort of stuff. For the people who are concerned, and I suppose there's a couple of sides of things. There's people who are concerned that if I go there, I'll be on a list, and they'll scrutinise me more, or they'll mess up what I've already done. I've already complied, I've done this, and I just don't want to mess anything up. Don't want to do this. Wake up. You're already on a list. They want you to be quiet. That's why the powers that be and the powers that are influencing you to be quiet are doing that. It's obviously not good having all these restrictions, all these things you've even been through. That's not a good thing. That's not beneficial for anything other than their end goal. It doesn't suit your end goal. So be brave, be there, be part of this. If nothing else, to show your support for the people that aren't doing it so easy as you. There's a lot of people that can't just get a license because they can't get their firearm because it's designed that way. They've deliberately designed things to try and remove the firearms. They're deliberately bragging about all the firearms they're removing. This is the goal. Please wake up to that. But more than that, for the people that are, for the people who care about our democracy, our state, the freedoms we have, all that sort of stuff, please come along and be a part of it too. You can go with it's a conspiracy or go down the road of, oh, listen, it's not about that, but stop and think about it. Why would you so aggressively disarm the population? Why would you do that? There's a simple, and I don't need to get into all the things that it could be, all the things that it probably is. Just think about why would you do that? And then look at if you've got anything into outdoor activities, anything of the rights in the way of even in small business, particularly in our farming sector, but in our trucking sector, and see what the government's doing when it keeps doing this. It keeps pushing across the boundary and telling us what to do. And it doesn't do it with even in any form West Australia's best interest involved. There are other entities, and whether that's gas and oil or whether that's other countries or whether that's whatever it is, I'm not going to try and get into. But it doesn't make sense for what we want. And this is because they're running unchecked with their power. Now, this is a place where you can come and be involved with this. You can be part of this. You don't need to be supporting guns. I get a lot of Australians have been convinced, brainwashed into the fact that guns are bad. They don't do much bad at all, actually, in our world. They do far more good in what they do in our world. But okay, you've been convinced that you're not on gun side. Are you on freedom side? Are you on looking after our flora and fauna? Do you care about being able to go away on holidays? Do you care about being able to have the choice of where you spend your money? All these things are in the crosshairs. Do a little bit of reading, do a little bit of looking around, do a little bit to see what's happening in the rest of the world, and this is very obvious. This is the place where we can stand and say, listen, it's not okay. If for no other reason than government overreach or you doing things without asking us first, that's not what you're elected for. That's not why you got our vote. You got our vote to look after us, to follow our will, or the majority's will. These people who want to talk about you elected them in. They were always elected in on promises that largely they don't keep. So when it comes to what we really want, let's start to hold them account. You get elected in, that isn't the end of it. Now you don't go off and do what you want to do. You still have to do the right thing by us. This is a very important time to do that. So I suppose that's where we're at with it. The people who are the naysayers, the people who are, well, I would have to go with, I only see two sides to this conversation. And just because you're not employed by the government doesn't mean you're on their side. So please understand that, and please look at that for the future too. As things get worse, do you want to be one of the people that was on the side that takes all the credit for the things that went wrong, or would you prefer to be on the side of the argument where people were fighting for what's right? I know which side I would prefer to sit on. Anyway, that's that. What I can tell you in the positive side of things with what's going on the firearms side of it, the rally side of it, it is a little bit about firearms and certainly is the core ingredient, but it's about everything. There are adverts that have rolled out in, I think, nearly 10 different papers from the rally promotion. There's also ads on the rally promotion, and it was the e-petition. The e-petition has closed. I think that got to just under 20 or just on 22,000. So good effort, everyone. Not as high as I'd like to see, but I don't think we had all entities on side. So did really good and still very big compared to the average by like 10 times the average e-petition. A very good one. Way more than they'd hoped for, but it could have been more. But anyway, it went well. It also advertising for the submissions to Parliament. Please get on and do that sort of stuff, and advertising support for the GoFundMe to help with this advertising, which has been expensive. We put probably could have spent more, but it's been very well helped. There's a couple of individuals that have personally helped, which is awesome, and then I think there might even be some more that I don't know of. I'm not mentioning names. I don't know if they want to be named, and if we do, we'll let you know later on. But they have personally put effort in, or put a lot of effort in and money in to put ads in things. We've got a full-page ad coming out in the West Australian. We've got a full-page ad coming out in the Echo. There was a full-page ad in the Examiner. There's also an article coming out in the Echo. So there's bits and pieces. We've put together an article of trying to be a pretty good, the other side of the conversation. Our paper's been good at saying that, yes, the police are good and the guns are bad, and yes, all you gun owners should do the right thing and be supportive with the police, and the police are good guys. All that, there's been that side of it. We try to put a very even spread article to explain the other side of it, what the pain that we, the firearms owners, and ultimately, like I said, that moves into everybody else, is going through with this government's own words, shambolic system they've put together. But anyway, so we've got that, and promoting the rally. So listen, get there, be there. There's obviously more strategy to go with that. We're going to be doing up placards. And I suppose that's one thing I want to talk about today, was as for slogans and things we can put on placards. There are some rules, by the way, at Parliament House. No sign writing on walls, no hanging up posters. It's all very prim and proper there. So those are things you can't do. And there is areas that we can be for the protest, what we're doing. So I'll put a map on what those areas are. It will be at 12 o'clock to lunchtime is when they've decided to do that, when the parliamentarians are moving in and out of the front of Parliament House, or they're around the place, so they know we're there. So it's not locked away in chambers. So there is where they know they're there. That's who we're trying to influence. There's noise that there's going to be some media coverage there, some people there to cover it. So dress well, be on your best behaviour, but let's be strong about this. Let's be there and be part of that. But with the slogans, there's people coming up with ideas, but I'm sure you've got good ideas too. Now, keep in mind, we are the adults in the room. We're trying to go for the better country. So keep it polite, but keep it, have some power in it too. So I'm sure there's a lot of us that like to say, yeah, stuff we shouldn't, because it sure as hell comes across that what's been done to us to force that. But if you can put together, we'll put them in the comments and see what we can come up with in the way of a really from West Australians and from our community. So smart stuff to say there so that we can actually have those, so we can put them up in the pictures, that sort of stuff. We've got slogans to tell our story from the, like I said, from the adults in the room, from our perspective. So I think that's it. Other than that, there's going to be more instructions to go with that, but I think there's people largely getting to the rally at Parliament House at around 11 o'clock, and then the 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock is largely it, and there's going to be speeches and bits and pieces there, Brian Walker, and there's other politicians and other people that are talking at the rally. So it should be good on that side of things. There is certainly work out your traffic. Work out how to get there. I think there's a shuttle coming from car parks and things like that. There's the normal bus services. I don't know what else has been organised at the moment, but do a bit of planning. You can't just drive up to Parliament House and park there. There's very limited parking, so do a bit of working it out. There's probably not that long a walk from the train station, but do a bit of research on that, and I hope you'll have some more information to share between then and now as to if there is any sort of organised planning going with that. But be prepared, work that sort of stuff out. There's also a little bit of talk about there being a bit of rain there on that day, so be prepared for the weather. Don't shy away from the weather. In my mind, a little bit of, if we've got a little bit of rain and we're still standing there, shows that we mean more business than a lovely sunny day when we're all having a picnic out. No, we're prepared to stand there when the weather is a little inclement, and we are still there to say our piece and to stand our ground, because this matters a lot to us. So I think that's it. I finish with the people who are getting nervous or getting told not to, it's bad, the disallowance is bad, the rally. Stop it. Stop that sort of stuff. I would hold them to account right there and then. There are two sides to this argument. There is our government, or the government in control, that are trying to take your firearms and trying to take your freedoms and trying to take your rights. If you're supporting them, okay, though you're on that team. We, the people team, are on the, we don't hate our government. It just needs to do what it's supposed to do. It's not supposed to be government for government. It's supposed to be government for the people. So we want our freedoms. We want our rights. We don't want them to tell us what to do, and we're prepared to stand up and say that. Otherwise, otherwise we fall down. And that means that if we don't stand together, we fall down. So let's stand together, let's stand up and tell them to start to do their job like they're supposed to. Anyway, I won't go more on about that. I don't want to, I get there's lots of emotion and things that go to this sort of stuff, so I don't want to say the wrong thing about people who are just simply being misconstrued, I think you get where I'm coming from. So anyway, that's it for the video today. Promote as much as you can. We're still raising funds for the GoFundMe. We're still trying to spend a little bit more than we've got. So if you can help with that, that'd be great. And beyond that, let's get together, guys. Let's see what we can do. There is a real chance here. I can't tell you how big it is, but the more effort we put in, the bigger we make it. So anyway, thanks for checking in, guys. Catch you next time.